The last part, Jane successfully gave birth to her baby at Howe's, but they didn't have time to celebrate as they needed to leave due to low supplies. Jane wasn't particularly happy about the matter either. Our duo realizes they've made grave mistakes after turning to a militant group in Richmond. How will they right their wrongs and locate the children they've grown so fond of? We'll be seeing that and more in part 2 of this scenario. After hearing the commotion going on at the gates, David walks outside and stands across two familiar faces, or four if Jane and Clem are there too. Gabe, Kate, and David go to the hospital while everyone else is thrown into quarantine. They meet up with Eleanor in the cell, and when she explains how she got here, Jane will make a harsh comment towards her saying this is what she gets for being so trusting of other people. She let her guard down, and now they have to pay for her being so gullible. Obviously, if Conrad is dead, neither Jane nor Clem will be here unless Clem didn't trust you enough to tell their secret. Jesus will ask Clem and Jane what they know about David, to which they would both say he wasn't a good guy. If you sided against them while Conrad was trying to use them as leverage, Jane will insult Javi saying, "I guess the apple didn't fall far, did it?" David would then interrupt the combo to take Javi to see Kate at the hospital. He eventually meets Joan and Clint, where Max shows up with Lonnie. You still get the choice of deciding whether or not you expose them for what they did to Mari. Javi and his people are escorted to the gates, where they'd be exiled from New Richmond. You then decide if you want to keep the gun for yourself or give it to Conrad if he's alive. You'd also get a new choice to offer the gun to Jane if she's there, but she would reject it, saying she doesn't want anything from you. Everyone heads towards the location David marked on the map, and he would make his way over there too. When being overwhelmed by muertos, Jane is the one who saves Javi from the walker by the tree, stabbing it in the head while it's on top of him. The walker falls beside him, with the two revealing themselves. This is where they'd make their return after being absent during the start of the episode. She tells Javi that this makes them even now, and he thanks her. When Javi tells them they're going to a place David marked, they advise him not to trust his brother, and Clem tells everyone about what happened with AJ and Jamie. This obviously is shown during the flashback sequence, but since we already covered all the flashbacks last part, we can move on from that. When she begins to get upset about it, she questions herself out loud, asking if they would have been better off alone. Jane will put a hand on her shoulder, saying they should have never gotten involved with these people. Clem will turn around and hug her, and they continue moving. They eventually arrive at the place David wanted them at, and he pulls up not too long after, asking to be let in. Conrad survives the way there even if you didn't give him his gun, since we have an extra person holding off walkers on the fence. Clem and Jane would be adamant about Javi not opening the door for his brother. If you don't open it, Jesus will open the door and they will nod at you, showing their approval. If you do open it, Jesus will disarm Clem, but he also points her gun at Jane, advising her not to do anything rash. Regardless, David gets inside. Jane rushes him and holds him against the door with her knife at his throat. She asks why they shouldn't just kill him for what he did, and this confuses him. Did with what? Clem then asks if he suffered, and then it clicks with him. The boy and the little girl. He explains, saying he didn't have to worry about that because he lived. This is sort of a full circle moment for Jane, as it's kinda similar to what happened in season 2 with AJ secretly being alive and her lying about his death. Clem says that David is lying, and Jane agrees with this statement. Javi can either believe David or side with Jane and Clem. Max, Badger, and Lonnie eventually show up at the warehouse, where our group confronts them. Everything would go mostly the same, but with Jane as an added fighter, Lonnie isn't getting away so easily. Therefore, even if you do choose to kill Max, you will still have another person to bring back when exposing Joan. She also wouldn't be informed of our group's return to Richmond, since Lonnie has been subdued and didn't get the chance to alert her, which means the added security measures wouldn't be applied. Javi and the rest of our group arrive back in Richmond, and it's a lot easier due to the guards not patrolling the streets in anticipation of their arrival. Jane and Clem depart from our group, leaving to go find out more about the kids. Javi finds Kate and Gabe in the hospital, and you get the choice to go to David's house or to leave Richmond. Going to David's house will play out the same. However, if you try to leave Richmond with Kate, a guard will spot you and question why you're back here since you've been exiled. You can say that you're just here to get your family, say that you're leaving already and it's not a big deal, or try to run. All of which will still result in you being captured and brought to Joan. Whoever you kept alive will be with David confronting Joan. Javi arrives either brought in by guards or with Ava if you chose to stick to the plan. David exposes Joan to the other council members, and here's where their plan would crumble. If you killed Max, it plays out pretty much the same how it did in the original. However, if you spare Max, he will come clean about everything, much to Lonnie's dismay. He tries to deflect, saying they were brought here to tell lies to everyone, but Max tells him to just stop and that it's over. Lingard and Clint are unsure of whom to believe, which allows Joan to swoop in and manipulate the situation to her advantage. David crashes out, enraged that Joan is about to get off scot-free again. He then shoots Lonnie, which ends up getting both him and Javi thrown into quarantine. So both paths pretty much end up in the same spot, and as lame as it seems, I really can't see Lonnie just outing Joan like that. He just seems like that stubborn type of guy. Javi and his brother talk in the cell before Joan returns to take David for questioning. With the help of either Kate or Gabe, Javi escapes the cell and is brought to Eleanor's apartment. The plan is made for them to grab guns from the armory, so they head over there with the help of Ava. Javi is still stabbed in the shoulder, so he stops by the medical facility only to find Clem and Jane talking to a half-conscious Dr. Lingard. Javi interrupts them as Lingard expresses his desire to die. Jane wouldn't take this well, as this would start to remind her about her sister and how she just couldn't bring herself to keep going. Depending on how you dealt with Sarah in season 2 and how you replied to Jane after she told you what she did with her sister, Jane will either try to find it in herself to convince Lingard to continue, thus refusing to kill him, or say that they have to find the kids and they can't let this get in the way of what's important. If you stay silent or do nothing, Clem agrees with whatever Jane says. If you tell them not to kill him and you've been unfavorable to them, Jane will ask why they should listen to you. You're just like that brother of yours. You think you're looking out for people when in reality you're just trying to make yourself feel better about leading people to their doom. She ignores you and goes through with injecting Lingard, ending his life. If you have been favorable to them, she'll refrain from killing Lingard and have a word with Javi before they leave. She says that you're an okay guy and she hopes you stay that way. You really care about other people. Weirdos like them, even junkies like Lingard. It's nice. They've come across so many assholes in the past, so meeting you was a nice change. You then get the choice to hug her, shake her hand, or just thank her as well. If you choose to hug her, she'll reciprocate in this moment, showing her gratitude to you. Clem smirks during this as they leave the infirmary shortly after. The awkward convo about Clem's period wouldn't have happened either, since Jane is a woman and would have informed her about this stuff beforehand. Javi would then get stitched up back at the apartment by Eleanor. The group begins planning out their next move, and Gabe gets frustrated when he's told to stay behind by Tripp and Kate. I still think that Gabe would expose Javi for killing Conrad, however if Jane did, I don't think he'd spill. He was mainly angry at Javi at that moment because of his life is precious speech. So I don't think he'd throw Clem and Jane under the bus, especially when they have nothing to do with the reason why he's riled up in the first place. Also, he's in their good graces and he wouldn't want to ruin things with them, mainly Clementine, because he got a little upset. Jane and Clem defend Javi if Gabe squeals, but Tripp and Eleanor don't want to hear it. Javi and the others go to get the truck, and since Clem decides to stick with Gabe, Jane would be the one to go with Javi to the garage. If Gabe exposed you, Jane will ask if he usually gets that angry, to which Javi says that sometimes he struggles to control his emotions. She says that for his sake, he better learn how. If Gabe didn't rat you out, Javi and Jane would just talk about how it seems like Gabe's able to get Clem to ease up at times. She's always so guarded, but Jane likes it that way. And the second he starts to slow her down, she'll know to drop him. It's what she taught her after all. After pushing the truck out of the garage, Javi hotwires the truck and they escape. Everything leading up to Kate's confession stays the same, and the group leaves once Ava checks in on the walkie-talkie. At the town meeting, Joan reveals the people you killed, along with Eleanor revealing to be the one who sold you out. This would make Jane furious, as she had a bad feeling about her reaction the night before. She curses at her, calling her a traitor. Tripp and Ava walk onto the stage and are forced to kneel. Jane is grabbed by guards, while two other ones point their guns at Clem and Gabe. Javi then decides who to save, which like in canon, ends up being who dies. Clint still presents the deal, which leaves the player with a choice. If you choose to kill Joan, the episode plays out mostly the same, with the group breaking into pairs to take cover. If you choose to accept the deal, David would still kill Clint, with the others joining the fray. Kate drives into town, crashing the truck into the wall, causing an explosion at the gates. And with that, we'll leave things here for now. I'm not even going to take too much time explaining where the hell I've been. All I say is that you read my community tab post. It pretty much explains what the f has happened over the last couple of months, and if you also read the comments, there's a little bit more explanation there too. But yeah, pretty much long story short, I had to reset my computer and lost all my files, so yeah, we're restarting from square one. Fat ass L, but we are going to build from here, I can assure you. Not going to make too many promises because every single time I have made a promise on this channel, I pretty much hoe myself, so I'm going to stop doing that from here on out. Instead of announcing things months in advance or weeks ahead of time, I'm just going to say that I have a bunch of ideas and stuff planned that I'm going to get out for you guys, and I'm sure you all will enjoy it. The first half of 2025 has been pretty slow. We haven't done anything at all, but that's going to change starting with this upload. I know that sounds like another promise when I literally said I'm done announcing and promising things, because whenever you announce something, the chances of it happening significantly decrease, but just watch and see. That's all I can say. I do want to quickly thank the people that have been patiently waiting for me to come back. I know it must suck watching my channel because of how inconsistent I am, but like I said, we are going to be working on that. Damn, that was a lot of yapping. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next video.